Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Russ.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode 225. 225 back in the virtual nerd basement, guys. Welcome once again. It is a stunningly warm for end of April.
It's a beautiful summer day.
Beautiful summer day. We should end on Thursday. We're supposed to have a freeze warning, a frost warning at the very least. It's ridiculous. This is the time of year that
Michigan is off her meds, and somebody needs to do something.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the time of year, but it has been extra kind of seesaw-ish.
It's been extra roller coastery because we've gone like upper 70s to 30.
We had the upper 70s in March. And,
hey, CD.
And then, hey, CD. But yeah, we had the upper 70s in March, like a month ago. And then now we're having it again, after we just had a couple of days of mid-50s.
My car said 82 when I was coming home from work today.
It was crazy sauce, man. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was wonderful. It felt great, but it was 30 degrees. It was literally 30 degrees colder yesterday.
Hey, Renee's on too.
That was nuts. But it was a beautiful day. Tomorrow's supposed to be relatively nice. I'll be a bit more rainy, and on Thursday
they're saying thunderstorms tomorrow.
Yeah, and then worse on Thursday. But then
no, just rain on Thursday.
I just higher chance of rain. Maybe I don't know. That's what I saw earlier.
Of course, it's going to rain on Thursday. That's the first day of my golf league.
Of course, that's the way it works, man. Don't you know?
At one point, so I've been watching the weather on Thursday, and granted, I don't take a lot of stock in what's 2 weeks out, but I've been watching it for the last couple of weeks, and it went from 57 in rain to 71 in rain,
right?
And now we're back to 60 in rain,
right?
I'm like, okay, make up your goddamn mind. I want a job where I can just guess all day.
Yeah, no kidding. I get it about right.
So you know what? If I mess it up today, I'll just fix it tomorrow.
We'll fix it tomorrow. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I guess we were off on the temperature today. We said it was going to be 80, but it only hit 55.
Yeah, motherfuckers. But one of the most consistent things about Michigan is the inconsistency of our weather. So
wait 5 minutes. If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. It'll change. And what's funny is moving to Kentucky, I heard the exact same thing. They said, that's what you say about Kentuckyana. If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. It'll change.
I've heard that in a lot of places. There are a lot of places that are exactly like that.
It's just weather.
Except for Arizona.
Yeah.
When I lived in Arizona,
like the weather, move.
Yeah. When I lived in Arizona during high school, because I grew up here mostly, and we moved to Phoenix for a few years, and but I remember it was just fucking hot. It was like, it was either hot or it was not quite as hot, and even in January and December, it could still get in, crack 70, and February, the winter months where it could easily crack 70, no problem, and it would cool down at night quite a bit, but it was still like, geez, man, it's crazy. And people used to say that Arizona, our politics may be screwed up, but at least our weather's consistent. That was the last state to ratify Martin Luther King Day, just as an example.
Well, and have they accepted daylight savings time yet?
Oh man, I don't even remember.
I know they did.
There wasn't.
They haven't for a long time
because they were like, we get plenty of sun. We're fine.
They're in mountain time part of the year and in Pacific time the rest of the year. Yeah. So
sometimes they're 3 hours off and sometimes they're 2 hours off. It was really strange. So how was your week, man?
It was all right. Got my second COVID shot
Good.
just before the show last week. So talked about that then. But was kind of sick on Wednesday. I felt okay all night. I was starting to feel a little woozy by the end of the show last week. But woke up the next day and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm taking the day. I don't know that I ever had a real fever, but I just felt off. And
you probably might have been like half a degree or maybe a degree.
I don't think it was much.
It's usually not.
I was just tired as hell.
Yeah, it wipes you out.
And yeah, all I did was I sat in the in my chair, and I watched Godzilla.
Oh,
good. The latest Godzilla, not
Yeah.
Godzilla King of Monsters, but the Godzilla from 2014.
Oh, okay.
The original. Because I want to watch them in order. So I'm going to watch that, then I'm going to watch Skull Island, then I'm going to watch Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then I'll watch Godzilla vs. Kong.
Right. What did you think?
It was good. It wasn't great, but I mean, it was good. It was a decent updating of Godzilla, I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was entertaining if nothing else. But what I didn't realize is that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are in it as a married couple.
Pardon me?
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver from the MCU are the married couple in that movie.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize.
Yeah. Elizabeth Olsen is the main chick, and what's his name is the main guy.
Like the guy that played her brother.
Taylor, whatever, yeah.
Well, the guy that played her brother, or the guy that played
the guy who played her brother in the MCU.
That is so fucking weird. Why they would cast people like that, I don't know. Because I'm pretty sure Godzilla came after was after Civil War, wasn't it?
I meant to look that up. Captain America Civil War 2016. So Civil War was after.
Oh, interesting.
So they were a married couple first, and then they were in Civil War together as brother and sister.
Okay. All right. Well, still kind of weird. I had forgotten about that. I hadn't seen it. It's been a while since I've seen it. I think I only saw it once. So.
Yeah, when she first came on stage on screen, I went, "Hey!" and I'm like, and he looks familiar, but why? And I looked him up, and I'm like, "Oh wow, he doesn't look anything like he did in the MCU." But
right.
But yeah, and then we had our game on Friday.
Right, we had our game on Friday. We had a great great shopping episode. A shopping episode.
Not even like shopping, because you guys weren't shopping for magical stuff.
No, we were shopping for clothes.
Yeah, you went clothes shopping.
Fancy dress for our characters. I didn't think I was going to have as much fun as I did. Stop it. It was just wonderful, guys. We just had an incredible time shopping.
It was a lot of fun. And then dinner. Then you guys had dinner and spent 80 gold on dinner.
Yeah, fuck me. 80 gold. It's crazy. Yeah, it wasn't Fantasy Costco, unfortunately. CD. It was, getting Klimbrum into a corset was pretty goddamn funny. The fact that Sydney has actually never won a
worn a corset.
Worn a corset, I don't know. Even like just a fashion one, or just a corset for a corset for like
corset?
Huh?
A corset? It's a fake corset.
Oh yeah. Or even just one for like, maybe she had like a lingerie type of one that just for funsies. But I was like, wow, crazy. Yeah, fantasy hot topic. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because my character Marikaris ended up looking like he stepped off of a romance novel cover after we got done, man. Well, that was my intention.
You'd have to like split the shirt a little bit more.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it was definitely his it ties it at the top, and it was like open, so it show off his upper chestal area. But
his chesticles.
His chesticles, yeah. And it was really funny, Renee, because it was like we're all like starved for going out and doing things.
Because dinner was especially.
Yeah.
Like, do they have this?
Do they have
this?
Yeah.
Do they have sushi?
It was a seafood restaurant, and I'm like, do you have anything from the land? Oh yeah, no, we've got venison steak. I'll take that.
And everyone's like, oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah. Somebody was like, hey, can I get half of that shark steak and half of it? I was like, this is really funny. And we had a great time. It was and then afterwards we met up with the captain. We chartered a boat, essentially chartered not so much chartered a boat as in signed on to a ship that will take us to Greyhawk. But it was really, really fun.
I was wondering which ship. I had a feeling you'd wind up going with the ship you did, but I had both.
I do find it interesting that you gave us two choices.
Yep.
And I did like that because, yeah, we had to decide, do we pay for a ride and then still have to maybe help out a little bit? That doesn't take us all the way to where we got to go. We'll still have to like travel a little bit more on our own. Or do we ride on with the more morally dubious crew?
A little shadier.
A little shadier crew. And that'll take us all the way to Greyhawk, but we might end up doing some shadier shit. And I mean, there's going to be some points where Merrick Harris may have to be like, I'm not doing that. It's like, not a pirate, I know
Klimbrum's going to start a fight club.
I may sound a bit like a pirate from time to time, but I'm not a pirate, so just going to start a fight club, yeah. Does the food give you buffs? This isn't cyberpunk, man. The food's not. No, only if you.
I got regen now for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah. Only if you. Eat a hero's feast, and it does give you a buff.
Yep.
But it was a great time. We had a lot of fun, and normally I like to get a little combat in from time to time. But honestly, when we have all that really awesome RP, it's like it's just it's chef's kiss. It's just wonderful. That was a lot of fun. It was, and we had a lot of RP the time before too, with Octavian's parents and dealing with that, and then having Octavian's parents there at the dinner as well, and we had a great time with Ian's character flirting with that tiefling. That was really hilarious too.
Oh, at the bar, yeah.
The bar. So,
hey guys, we should go on this ship.
This one. This is the ship, guys. This is it. That was really funny. Yeah. I gotta tell you, Ian plays that character to the tilt, man. It's really, really great.
Yeah, it was a good time. And then I went golfing on Sunday for the first time.
Went and did some flogging, huh?
and then after that, finished up the curling season by I wasn't playing, but the league that I ran, we had our championship on Sunday night.
Right.
So that was
for that cost, it should buff you. He's right. For 80 gold, that meal should have fucking, it was 80 gold for all like 8 of us or whatever.
It was 8 people. And it included, you had the night's entertainment and
right.
That included the drinks and everything. So
yeah, we did also have to finally calm Lauka down and tell her that because she was determined to take her horse with us on the boat. And they're like, there's no room for a horse on this boat. We're like, listen, we'll board the boat, the horses. We've got enough money. It'll be fine. She's like, I want you to promise me, DM. I got my white horse. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. It was really funny, though. That's because that wasn't even Lauka. That was fucking Sydney right there. It was funny. But it was a great time.
So how about you? How was your week?
Well, last week, I guess I hadn't talked about it on this show. Last week, we buried my friend Bruce, who was a fan of the show. It was Bruce had been listening and would occasionally comment. He usually caught the show on YouTube or whatnot because Tuesday night is his game. Oh, hey, Rich. Sydney was hilarious. I demand your strongest potions. Exactly, Ghost said. So anyway, Bruce was known as Brucifer on Twitch. If you saw him occasionally, he usually Tuesday night was his gaming night with some of our other friends, with an old group I used to game with. So he wasn't often able to listen to it live. But he was also a fan of Tavern Nights, and he would
and that's where we saw him more often.
He was off more often on that. He wouldn't always finish out the night because our nights can go kind of late, but he would always catch up. He sent me a direct message to congratulate us when we defeated the Black Dragon and stuff like that. It was really great. We were planning on having him on the show. He was an OG gamer. He had been gaming Dungeons and Dragons since its inception in 1977. He was He was 61, I think, 62, possibly when he passed away. I think it was 1959 was when he was his year he had died. Yes, 1959. So yeah, he was fairly young when they started, but he had gaming since the very beginning, and so it was rough. It was a COVID related death. He was in the hospital for several days, for a week, and in the ICU. But then they sent him home, and he passed away. Probably heart attack. I don't think they ended up having a autopsy because they're like, what's the point, Personally, I still would have had the fucking autopsy because if somebody fucked up, somebody would be paying for it. But anyway, it was so we did lay him. He had died the previous week, and then we laid him to rest last week at a full military because he was a Marine and military thing. I tell you, man, and it gave me the weekend to kind of dwell on it. Kind of sucked that way, but one of my friends made a point. Like you see a lot of these people, but people like the same kinds of people at weddings and funerals.
Yep.
And weddings, you don't get to talk to people as much because, you're maybe at your table with the people you were sat with. You might talk to the bride and groom and whatnot, but you don't
You might mingle a little bit.
You might mingle a little bit, but
our wedding, there was a lot of mingling.
Yeah. But at funerals.
And by ours, I mean Renee and I's, not
yours. Renee's, correct.
Yeah, not yours.
Not ours. Yeah. Not ours. Not yet, sweetie. But at funerals, you really do tend to work the room a lot, or if you do run into friends, it seems to me, or you want to really kind of engage with those people. And those we did. I saw a bunch of friends I hadn't seen in a couple of years outside of like interacting on Facebook. And so it was kind of nice to see some of those people, even though it was a tough day. Mm-hmm. But at least it was a nicer day. It was a little overcast, but it was, it was wet. It was funeral weather, and Stella went with me. So that was, propped me up a little bit there. But Bruce was a great guy. He was, like I said, an old school gamer, big nerd, and just full of wisdom and was a kind of a big brother to a lot of us. He was kind of our elder statesman of the D&D group. He was a good 8 to 10 years older than most of us. So, but we will miss him. He was a hell of a guy. So, I mean, honestly, a little toast again to the big man. Rest well, Bruce. Other than that, it was kind of typical week. They keep finding little things for me to do at the parade company. I'm repairing today. I started working on yesterday actually, repairing a couple of mascot heads from the zoo. We occasionally sometimes we make mascot costumes, mm-hmm. and we did not make these ones. These ones were made by another company. And in all honesty, there's some shit in these costumes, particularly in the heads, that we really need to start integrating into the ones we make. But they got damaged fairly extensively, particularly the eyes and on the giraffes and the beaks on their 2 penguin costumes. So I'm currently repainting them and kind of doing my best to repair them. And then I'll probably be working on a mural piece that was on one of the floats. And hopefully, I was kind of thinking hopefully I'd get like maybe a week or 2 before we get into full on production, but honestly, I'm only doing right now about 20 hours a week, so it's just get in and get done. But we'll probably be getting into full production within the next 2 weeks. We're hoping, because we've got probably a good 4 floats, between 2 and 4 floats to be made this year, most probably more likely 3. So we really want to get started. But yeah, that was about it, really. Just kind of a typical bullshit. Thanks, Ghost Hand. Thanks for the toast as well. Yeah. Ghost Hand says, weddings is one of those things that are very reflective of the couple. Some like to indulge more in the conversations than the structure party itself. I'd say that's very true. And then, I mean, a lot of times people want to, like I said, at a funeral, people want to kind of reconnect with the people that are there. And so there's a lot of conversations, a lot of memory conversations. Let's talk about the things we miss about this person, So, I'm getting way into Fallout 76 again. They just did a massive update today. I'll tell you, that game has really improved from its initial, when they first brought it out 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, maybe now. I think it was 18.
I had no interest in it back then.
But it's really improved now. Now that they've added NPCs in, and they're adding in now a second camp, so you can have, we can build a house and a setup and a camp in one place, and then you can set up another one. And before you could only do one at a time. So that's kind of cool. That means you can also probably be able to store more stuff too, because I was like, I'm down to I filled my storage of all of the things that I can hang on to. So, but it's really, really good. I always had good core mechanics. It's just all the infrastructure of the game that was frail. I agree. It is, but it is improved a great deal. Ghost Hand, if you're not playing it now, go back and try it again, because it's been pretty cool. I've been playing it, for the last week or so.
I've actually never played any of the Fallout games.
Dude, Fallout 3 was where I was kind of introduced to it.
And that's what CD says. He's currently playing Fallout 3. It's his first Fallout game.
Dude, Fallout 3 was so good. And then you had New Vegas, which was kind of it actually, people called it as an add-on, but it was really its own full game. And it was actually done by a side studio of Bethesda. I think Obsidian actually did that, and it was also fucking amazing. In fact, some people will often say Fallout New Vegas was the best of the last couple of Fallout games. And then I played the shit out of Fallout 4 on my PlayStation and really adore it. It was the first game to introduce the building aspect, so that you can build houses and homes and stuff in the game.
Caesar.
And but yeah, it's so good. It's so much fun. And then because I've made it very clear on the show that I'm a big fan of Bethesda and
Microsoft.
Well, interestingly enough, I did hear some news today that the going rumor now is that Starfield, Bethesda's big new sci-fi property, is most probably going to be Xbox exclusive. So it will be on the computer. You'll be able to buy it.
It's Windows,
Microsoft or Windows, but it will most probably not be available on the PlayStation, at least not right away. It might. They're saying possibly a year from now. Yes, New Vegas. That's correct.
So I'm playing The Show, which is an MLB game.
Right.
It's a Major League Baseball game. And it's been exclusively PlayStation up until now. And they released it for Xbox. Xbox actually put it out on their Game Pass.
Right.
So, and I've got Game Pass, so I actually downloaded it because a bunch of my buddies did. And I gave it a shot. And it's a lot of fun. I love playing baseball games. I'm not great at them, but I really enjoy it. And so I started playing it. What's really funny is the first time you boot it up, and this, like I said, I'm playing it on Xbox. The first time you boot it up, you get the PlayStation logo.
Oh, really?
Because it's PlayStation Studios. It's PlayStation Studios that actually created the game.
That's funny.
That's fucking hilarious. But the game is amazing. Renee came down. She's like, "Holy shit, those graphics! They have wrinkles in their pants."
I got to tell you that is one of the things that sports games really, particularly some of these newer ones, Madden and the NHL games, NFL, I mean, all of them has really, they really amp up the realism. Like the graphics levels have improved so much over the years that it's really, really impressive. And I think that's one of the things that's really pushed forward, the technology. It's really something else. You all right there?
Yeah, he was just getting into his food. He actually had his head in the food bucket.
gonna have to put a lock on that. Maybe latch it a little better there, big guy. That's funny.
Sorry about that, guys.
So yeah, it's just scared me a little bit there. Jeez. So, what are you drinking, man?
I am drinking something. I don't have a picture for this one because it just came in a plain can. This beautiful clear beer. I mean, that is clear. I mean, you can see my hand behind there.
It's a clear beer.
This is from Royal Oak Brewing Company. This is their Maibach. This is a beer that they Jeremy just put out. It is it's a beer that's normally it's a German beer, usually brewed to celebrate the beginning of spring. So it's a very malty beer. It has all malt aroma. And then I'm going to take another sip here. You get like all malt flavors. It's actually kind of sweet, and it actually is really delicious. This is one I love when Jeremy does this one. It's got this beautiful like dark golden color. It's one he only does once a year. It's absolutely fantastic though.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'd say this is probably 4.5 bottle caps. It is an absolutely great version of the style. I got a 4-pack because they're doing cans now. The other night, and I saved one for tonight. So, it's delicious. If you're in the Detroit area, head over to Royal Oak Brewery. Get the Maibach while it's on. It's delicious.
All right. This week I am just indulging in another strawberry Angry Orchard. So their hard fruit cider. I have I had like a dozen ciders in my fridge that I have to drink. So you're not getting a new one this week, guys. I did hand Stella one of those blueberry lemonades from last week. I wanted to see how what she thought of it. But once again, the Angry Orchard strawberry, it's nice. It's a sweet cider. It's got a nice kind of light strawberry taste. It's not overwhelming. It's not super sweet, but still sweet. It'll give you that kind of Kool-Aid-y kind of sweetness. 5% alcohol by volume. If I remember correctly, the other strawberry one that I got from Blake's, the strawberry lemonade, is actually 6.5. So,
I gotta look this one up.
It's a nice Angry Orchard new one. Definitely one I'll be purchasing more and more often. Angry Orchard strawberry from their hard fruit cider line from this summer. And what was yours again, Chris?
It's the Maibach from Royal Oak Brewery.
All right, Maibach.
I'm gonna have to look them up by that.
Boy.
So one of the things while I'm looking this up, let's see, search Maibach. See if it'll find it real quick. There it is. Okay, yeah. So this is a 7.2% ABV.
Nice.
I've had two friends check in and they gave it the same rating as me. So one of the things I was going to talk about was I was reading today that Disney and Sony have struck a new deal.
Yes, they did. Basically bringing all the Spider-Man films to Disney Plus.
And actually pretty much all Sony films.
Oh, really?
To Disney Plus and Hulu.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I hadn't heard that. I just heard the Spider-Man stuff.
Now Sony has just inked a very similar deal with Netflix a couple weeks ago. And so I guess what this deal is that any new theatrical release Sony movie goes to Netflix first,
Hmm.
and then it's like 2 weeks later, but only for like the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then it goes to Disney Plus as well, and Hulu.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm all for it.
It's not just Spider-Man. This is also going to bring the Jumanji series in.
Sure.
And which I guess they're working on Jumanji 3.
I'll tell you, I haven't watched the second new Jumanji movie, but the first one with The Rock and with
I haven't watched the second one either. I don't think
the first one was great though.
The first one was absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely, so much fun, and I hear the second one is also really, really good.
Danny Glover and
Danny DeVito.
And Danny DeVito, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and watching Dwayne Johnson basically become Danny DeVito, from what I understand, absolutely fantastic. So I just haven't had a chance I haven't taken the time to sit down and watch it. I've got a slew of movies that I need to watch. So, well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, and just the fact that it's funny that like a year ago, 2 years ago, Sony and Marvel, or Sony and Disney at the very least, were kind of at odds with each other. And then they had a come to Jesus moment thanks to Tom Holland, and basically figured out that you know, they kind of need each other. Mm-hmm. And now they're playing nice. They're sharing, resources and everything, and that's great.
So this isn't going to just bring all of the Spider-Man films in. It brings in all of the Spider-Man characters. This is going to bring Venom in and allow Venom, I think, to become part of the MCU if they want.
I don't know if that. I mean, I thought it was mainly just for distribution rights.
It's distribution, but they're saying that this is going to actually
lead to that.
Lead to them being able to bring all of the Spider-Man characters in to the MCU.
So Morbius and Carnage and Venom and all the other characters. Okay, yeah. It's interesting though. Like some characters which are Spider-Man characters. There were certain characters that were bridge characters, like the Kingpin. Mm-hmm. He was a Spider-Man villain, but he's also a Daredevil villain.
Yeah, he was very much a Daredevil villain.
I mean, he's a New York bad guy. So he was a bad guy.
Jessica Jones, She-Hulk.
Well, they've also said recently, it was recently announced, that the actors that portrayed those characters, like Charlie Cox, who played Daredevil, and Kristen Stewart, not Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Jenner.
Kristen
Jenner.
No, it's not Jenner. Kristen. Oh, damn it. It's not Jenner, but you're close. She's not. Oh, damn it. That's not the right website. Let's see who can get to it first. I stopped. Jessica Jones.
It is Kristen Ritter.
Kristen Ritter. So you were close. Yes. Kristen Ritter, Charlie Cox, the guy that also played the Punisher. Those actors are going to be returning to the roles in some future Marvel productions, but they're going to be essentially rebooted. They're just going to be the same characters. So they're going to do away with the Netflix shows for being in continuity. And then, but they're going to reboot those characters. From what I understand, though, Power Man and Iron Fist are going to be recast, which is too bad because but I'm okay with the other.
I really liked Luke Cage.
Yeah. Luke Cage was the actor who played him was really, really great. But at the same time, the guy who played Iron Fist, I
wasn't crazy about him. What about, has there been any word about Vincent D'Onofrio doing Kingpin?
From what I understand, they want to have him back.
Because, I mean, I know he was really pushing for it. He wants to play Kingpin.
It was Mike Coulter, by the way. Mike Coulter played Luke Cage.
He was fantastic.
Yeah, he really was great. And but yeah, from what I understand...
I actually enjoyed the Luke Cage show way better than I thought I was going to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was great.
It was actually one of the best, I think.
I actually, what I really liked, I liked having Rosario Dawson as like a bridge character with all of them.
Yes.
Having Claire Temple, the night nurse and whatnot. I thought she was really great. So having her in it was really cool. But yeah, from what I understand, we're most probably going to see Jessica Jones in the new She-Hulk. at least in 1 or 2 episodes, and then
well, there was rumors that Charlie Cox was going to show up.
Also, yeah, since he is also the other superhero lawyer.
Yeah.
But there's also talk of him showing up in the new Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
As Matt Murdock,
right?
Not so much Daredevil, but it could be both. Who knows? And then also somewhere along the line, somewhere in there, John Bernthal as the Punisher as well. And it's funny, like I actually haven't watched the last season of Punisher.
Oh, it's good, dude.
Pretty much, I don't think I've watched the last seasons of Jessica Jones, Punisher, or Daredevil. So I need to watch those.
Wow, yeah. Daredevil was
like
great.
I said, I just keep falling behind and stuff, you know?
Daredevil was great. Jessica Jones was great.
But she had 3 seasons, right?
Jessica Jones...
Or did she have 2?
She had...
Because I know she had
Daredevil both had 3. The others only
and they were
2.
such fantastic...
Yeah,
fantastic shows, too.
Oh, my God. The first season of Jessica Jones was incredible.
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. And the second one was pretty good, too. I mean, there was a really good follow-up. And the third, like I said, I haven't seen it, but...
the third was good.
I just also really like Kristen Ritter, too. So
she was fantastic. And actually, it's funny because Renee was telling me... Renee follows her on social media. And she was telling me that she's an avid crocheter.
Really?
And that's what she does on set when she's waiting. She just sits there and crochets, and she got Charlie Cox into it. So Charlie Cox now crochets.
That's funny. That's cool. So yeah,
how he does that when he's blind, I have no idea.
I just know. How does he tell what color that stuff is? Does it all by feel?
Or knitter. She just said knitter. She's a knitter.
She's a knitter. I see. Okay, there is a difference.
Yes, there is.
My friend, a friend of mine, my friend Jade says. She crochets. She's a hooker, not a needle freak.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I think crochets they use the hooks.
Yeah. So she used to make her own fishnet stockings. Like I used to watch her, crochet her own. It's kind of cool.
I agree with Ghost Hand. I was kind of bummed that because Iron Fist was so meh that we're not going to get Heroes for Hire.
Well, we did get. I mean, we got the Defenders.
Yeah, we got the
Defenders, and
there was supposed to be a hero. There was talk of a Heroes for Hire show as well.
Right. They even joked about it. I think in the show.
Yeah, but because Iron Fist was so meh.
Yeah.
And it was.
I didn't hate it.
I loved Colleen Wing.
Yeah.
I think she was fantastic.
I think they ended the show well. I think they ended Iron Fist well. I think, but. By him passing on, the power of the Iron Fist to her, but then he still had his own kind of chi channeling power.
He gave her like a spark.
Yeah, and then she got her own kind of thing and channeled it through the sword. I think they ended that show well. It's just I didn't. You know what? I didn't hate the show. It's just that the guy playing, Iron Fist was not great. Danny Rand was just.
Yeah. I really didn't care for him in Game of Thrones, and I didn't care for him in.
Well, and then on top of the fact that so often the fight choreography was just not.
Oh, it was atrocious.
It really wasn't. I mean, there were a few fights that were okay. That was pretty good. But when you talk about a show that's
the second season got much better.
Right, exactly. The second season got much better. They listened to the critics. They listened to the people that were critical of the show. And they fixed it. They fixed at least a lot of it. But and like I said, there were a number of individual fight scenes that were like really amazing. But when you think about it, like a show that's about a guy who's supposed to be one of the greatest kung fu masters or martial arts masters in the world, and the martial arts, the fight choreography is better in Daredevil. Come on, guys. What's going on here? So
I'm looking forward to Shang-Chi for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Shang-Chi. I mean, I think it was last week. We talked about it a little bit, but the trailer dropped last week for Shang-Chi, and it looks incredible. I am really, really excited.
Okay, I don't know who Chad Stahelski is. Sam said get Chad Stahelski to do the stunt coordination, and we're all set.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that guy. So, is he? He must be a stunt coordinator.
He's an American stunt man. He's done the John Wick movies.
Oh God, yeah. Jeez. Especially when you consider like the third John Wick movie had like Mark DeCostos in it. You know, that guy is a hell of a martial arts, just incredible martial arts guy.
He's known for his work on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and directing the 2014 film John Wick, along with David Leitch, as well as solo directing his 2 sequels.
All right.
So he did work on Buffy.
Hey, I'm always happy to, you know, for new Buffy stuff. I mean, shit, Buffy's great.
He doubled for Brandon Lee after the fatal incident involving Lee on the Silver Crow. So he's the one that took over and did the reshoots or finished up the movie as the Crow.
Okay. God,
that was a good movie.
God, man, it's so good.
That was such a tragedy. Brandon Lee was so good.
He was poised to be a huge star.
He was.
He was going to be a monstrous star. And, you know, and that tragedy, I mean, it was really cut everything short. And it was way too, one of the greatest tragedies of Hollywood in my lifetime. Absolutely. Absolutely. We should move on. I had some things here. Did you got anything else? What did you want to?
No, sorry. I'm just looking at this, and in November 2017, he was signed on to reboot the Highlander franchise, which he committed to making a trilogy of, ending with The Gathering of the Immortals. It would be similar in thematic development with the original Star Wars trilogy, and similar to John Wick action, but with swords replacing gunplay.
Well, the thing is, yeah, they've been talking about like rebooting Highlander for quite a while.
The reboot trilogy would still include the iconic music by Queen.
It has to. It has to. It's not a Highlander movie if it doesn't have Queen in it. Fuck.
Oh, and he's going to do a film adaptation of Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
So the
guy's busy.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of stuff that he's got coming up. I mean, he's got John Wick 4.
Well, they're actually, I hear they're doing they're trying to do a television spinoff. It's a prequel of John Wick, where it deals more with Winston, the guy that he goes to like get.
Yes, you did go
Sanctuary.
You sent us down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. It's not hard. It's not hard, brother.
We distract easy. Oh, look, Squirrel.
Oh, shiny. So a couple of things. Big news today. World of Darkness universe coming to big and small screens. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
I would expect a greater reaction.
I was stunned.
It says a world of vampires, werewolves, and wizards is on its way to screens big and small. World of Darkness, the tabletop gaming universe that gave us Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse, is being adapted for movie and TV projects. The Hollywood Reporter revealed the game publisher Paradox has partnered with married writer-producers Eric Heiserer and Christine Boylan and production company Hive Mind. The legacy of these stories is way ahead of its time, inviting issues and perspectives other games ignored. That's true. This feels like the next step for the genre, Heiserer said in a statement. It would seem the World of Darkness is in capable hands. Heiserer is currently the showrunner and executive producer for Netflix's Shadow and Bone series, receiving mostly positive praise since debuting. He's also nominated for an Oscar for his screenplay feature Arrival. Boylan also has an extensive resume. She has written for TV series like The Punisher, Cloak and Dagger, Constantine, and Leverage, and more. The couple's production partner, Hive Mind, is currently developing a spin-off anime and prequel for the live-action Witcher series at Netflix. They also produced Amazon sci-fi series The Expanse. So these people have serious geek cred here.
Yeah.
These producers and showrunners. Fans were first introduced to the World of Darkness universe back in 1991 when the tabletop role-playing game Vampire the Masquerade launched, soon after following additional properties, including Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage the Ascension, Orpheus, and Hunter the Reckoning. Since then, they also had a couple other ones, Mummy, and there was Promethean, and I've got a bunch of them all right there behind me.
Hunter.
Since then, tabletop games have expanded into video games, comic books, novels, virtual reality, and card and board games, building a fan base through the inclusive representation of race, genre, creed, and sexuality. So my guess is this might even be one of the reasons why the video game was delayed. Bloodlines 2 was delayed, because maybe they want to make sure they tweak it and make it perfect.
Just tell me one thing. Just promise me that C. Thomas Howell is not part of this.
Here's hoping. For those of you guys who don't know what he's talking about, there was a short-lived television show called Kindred the Embrace that was based on...
Which I loved. I loved that show.
The show was solid, man. It was one of those... It was one of those shows that Fox fucked up.
Yeah, it was.
It was another Fox fuck up.
They didn't show it out of order, but they just didn't know how to market it.
They didn't show all the episodes either.
Yeah,
I had the videotapes somewhere.
They released them very briefly, but you can't actually find them. They're not actually in print anymore.
You can find it on YouTube. Somebody was able to put the shows up on YouTube.
Oh, that's cool.
It was based on, like I said, it was based on the game. It was very cool. It was kind of a precursor to like Buffy.
Yep, it was before Buffy. Which actually one of the characters from that show was actually several of the characters on that show were wound up on Buffy.
Well, several of the actors.
Yeah, the actors. Yeah, that's what I mean. Not the characters, but the actors.
Correct.
Like the leader of the Bruja was like the master's right hand in the beginning.
Yes, exactly. There was a bunch of those actors.
There was the one girl that she was descended from them, but wasn't actually a vampire yet. That became a vampire.
She was descended from the Ventru, and then the Bruja ended up embracing her. It was like embracing her, correct? And they were like, oh,
Yeah, well, but she wound up becoming one of Wesley's love interests on Angel.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she was that the curly-haired, redheaded girl that was seen in a lot of stuff back then. Actually, if I remember correctly, she was on that actress was most recently, or not maybe most recently, but she was also on The Runaways, on the show The Runaways.
Oh, was she?
One of the parents. I think she was one of the parents.
Oh my God, she's the nerdy one.
Yeah, she was the mom of the nerdy one. Yeah.
Holy shit! Yeah. I didn't even put that together, but as soon as you said that, I'm like, wait, which one? Oh shit! Yeah, I recognize the voice now.
I have a thing for faces, man. I never forget them. I recognize people all the time. So anyway,
and the dad on that was the guy that from Clerks 2 that Randall made puke all over the
floor. Right? Can't remember names to save my soul, but I'm all about faces. The show ran about, I think they showed eight episodes, but they had 13, but they or something like that, but they didn't show the last, like, I think there might have been 12 actually. They didn't show the last 4 because I remember the DVD there. I had a VHS set. It was like 3 VHS tapes of the shows, and but they disappeared. I can't remember where I put them. So it was a good show. It just was not given its proper due. And then unfortunately, before they even could maybe revamp it or anything, the guy who played the lead character passed away unexpectedly.
Damian Luna or whatever his name was. It was Luna.
Yeah.
The prince of the prince of the city.
Of the city.
The Ventru leader.
Yeah, it was a hell of a show. I keep pulling up the wrong thing. So anyway, that was some big news. World of Darkness. I mean, we're really excited. I mean, we talked about Bloodlines 2. It's been this huge video game that one of the most anticipated video games.
Julian Luna,
that was it. One of the most anticipated video games to come out in a long, long time. And it was supposed to come out this year, but due to COVID and some other problems, it was delayed. And then most recently, they just found out that the company essentially fired a large portion of like the writing staff and whatnot. So it seems like the game is probably going through some pretty big changes. They haven't taken it off the slate yet, but they did push it to 22. So we're going to need to wait at least another year, at least another 8 months or so before we're going to even see hide nor hair of that game.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, what we saw happen with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077 a lot of these game companies are going, we cannot let that happen again. CD Projekt Red had the advantage of already being a very successful game, having one of the most successful fantasy-oriented games of all time with The Witcher 3. Well, with The Witcher 2 and 3, honestly, and then 3 being huge. They had a lot of money back in them. So, I mean, when Cyberpunk kind of had that pretty stuttery opening, they still made a lot of money off of it. In fact, they recently, last week, did reveal how much it actually, the crappy opening cost them. It cost them about $50 million. They still made $750 million on that game. They still sold 13 million, I think it was something like that. They still sold 13 million copies of it, even after they had a bunch of ones that they had to return, that they, gave money back. There is also news, or there is speculation that we could be seeing Cyberpunk 2077 back in the PlayStation Store soon. So there's rumors that the first big DLC for the game could be coming out in June. So we'll probably see the game back in the PlayStation stores by then. But anyway, I would not be surprised if they are delaying the game, making sure that it's perfect, because one, they don't want to go through what CD Projekt Red did, because if a game like that fails, it could destroy a younger game company. Mm-hmm. And two, if they knew this was coming, they probably want to make sure that it is, pretty good, so they can ride on the coattails of whatever TV show. So Disney is putting together, and they had announced recently that they're putting together a Percy Jackson and the Olympians TV show, Disney Plus. Casting is officially started for the upcoming show, according to the series author, Rick Riordan. The Post noted, now in the early stages regarding the casting call, and the actors should be able to play 12 with no specific ethnicity for the role of Percy. So that should be cool. I kind of like the Percy Jackson movies.
I've never watched them.
They were fun. They were interesting, considering I've always been a big fan of mythology and the Greek mythology, and specifically. So I found that these were a pretty fun kind of thing. They were basically trying to make them the American Harry Potter. And although the books are very, very successful, the first two movies didn't go off as well. But I still found them to be really entertaining. Russell Crowe revealed what his character would be in the new Thor: Love and Thunder. It was announced, he kind of spilled the beans, that he's playing Zeus. Now we do have... Okay. Yes, we do have the character of Gore the God Butcher in this movie. Gore, in the comic books, Gore was an alien that was basically cosmically empowered and started going around the universe killing gods, because the gods of his world never answered his prayers, and his family died because of it, apparently. So in the greatest story of revenge, he decided that he was going to kill all of the gods in the universe. He was stopped by Thor, obviously, but it's a pretty serious, pretty awesome character. Christian Bale is playing the character too, so it would make sense that he might come up against Zeus in the comic. Now, if we have Zeus, who knows? We could even have Hercules. That would be a pretty awesome surprise. That's a whole different movie, Chris. But I've always liked Hercules in the comics. He's always been one of my I don't know about favorites, but I've always liked him a lot. He was one of the...
When I first started getting into comics as a kid, he was part of the Avengers, and the Avengers was one of my favorite comics.
Absolutely. I always liked him because he was, I always loved the mythos of Hercules. I always loved the mythos of Thor.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of the Greek myths.
Right.
As I got older, I kind of moved away from Greek and actually went to Norse.
Yeah.
And then into Celtic. But it's the Greek myths. When I grew up, my parents actually got me a book that's like this thick.
Right.
At one point, of all Greek myths, and I was just ecstatic.
Yeah, I absolutely loved them, and Hercules is one of my favorites. I mean, if it was a Hercules movie, when I was a kid, I'd watch it. Like there was one with Lou Ferrigno that I adored as a child. There was, and then of course, like the Hercules and the Legendary Journeys show.
Hercules Goes Bananas.
With what's that?
Hercules
Goes bananas. Yeah, Hercules Goes to New York with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He
was in the Goes Bananas too, wasn't he?
I don't think so. I think Schwarzenegger just did the Hercules Goes to New York. That was his first movie, actually. And they dubbed his voice in because his accent was so thick.
1969 film, Hercules Goes Bananas. Yeah, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Was it Arnold? Yeah. Oh, okay. Maybe that was the name of it at the time.
Oh, wait. This is... You know what? It's actually Hercules Goes to New York is actually also Hercules Goes Bananas.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing. Maybe it had two titles.
Yeah, I didn't know it as Hercules Goes to New York.
Yeah, see, I knew it as that.
But yeah, okay. I've never seen that, and I know that they dubbed his voice in that, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
He couldn't speak English.
Well, no, he could, but his accent was just really thick. Yeah, Hercules in New York is what it's listed as on IMDb, but it probably has a secondary title or something like that.
Yeah, I looked up Hercules Goes Bananas, and that's what came up.
Mm-hmm.
Hercules in New York, Hercules Goes Bananas.
Okay. Anyways, so Hercules, it would be great to see him in the Thor movie. I think that'd be a lot of fun. It'd be interesting who they would cast.
Well, and it ties it in. I mean, because he was an Avenger for a while. Yeah,
he really was. Quite a while. He'd come and gone. And the cool thing is in the Marvel comics, they've done some really great things with Hercules over the last few years. They've made it so, like, at one point he gave up his godhood. He still had his strength and whatnot, but he gave up his immortality. And then there was another point where he became even more powerful. And then he goes out into space. And now they've given him like graying in his beard and these other things. They've done some cool stuff with in the Guardians. He's in the Guardians of the Galaxy books these days. And he is, I think, a member of the expanded Guardians of the Galaxy now. And, but they're combating like a reincarnated version of his family of the Greek mythos, and they're like taking on new forms, and it's very different. The interesting thing is they've also established Hercules as pansexual, as a member of the LGBTQIA community, and that was another thing to get into. What I was going to talk about is in June, Marvel's going to be introducing a brand new LGBTQ character in one of their books in this June for Pride Month, and it says Marvel has announced that its June Marvel Voices Pride one-shot, which celebrates the publisher's LGBTQ characters, Q plus characters, will also debut a brand new character, though they're not giving any further hints about who the new character is or how they'll fit into the Marvel universe. Well, no hints aside from them apparently appearing on a special variant cover from artist Luciano Vecchio, which features dozens of LGBTQ characters from the Marvel Universe. And it was interesting because looking at this cover, I had forgotten about a number of them. Like, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I forgot that some of these characters are, fall under the LGBTQ kind of banner. So, it was interesting when they noted like Hercules is basically pansexual, and it makes sense. Why wouldn't an immortal Greek god, to experiment, over the years? So it should be interesting. But that's coming out this June. It is a special one-shot issue featuring a bunch of shorter stories that's going to come out in June for Pride Month. And Marvel's been doing some really cool stuff with their various months. They did one for Black characters for Black History Month. They did another one for characters that were specifically Native for, I think it's November, is like
they do one for women.
I think they did actually too. They've done a bunch of them. So really spotlighting the different kind of groups to be represented. They just recently did one for Asian characters, and as did DC. In fact, DC's got one coming out. I think they've got one coming out soon for Asian characters, for Asian awareness or whatever it is, Asian American awareness.
We got to stop the Asian hate.
Oh,
out there.
absolutely.
That's just ridiculous.
So terrible what people are experiencing. And it's all, and a lot of it was, gotta say, a lot of it was spurred on because of COVID and because of Donald Trump continuing to call it the China virus and kind of really trying to put the blame all on China for this.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on, Legacy, Love and Thunder, blah, blah, blah. These are all Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Disney announced, and this is something that'll lead into what we're going to talk about later, but the Disney did announce last Friday, later in the evening, that they are working on Captain America 4.
Yeah, I figured we'd talk about that when we got into the discussing the show. Yes, they did announce it that they are leading into Captain America 4.
Yeah, I agree, CD. It was a duh, but still,
no kidding.
But I guess it goes there. I guess there's been a lot of razzing back and forth between Anthony Mackie and
Sebastian Stan.
No,
Chris Evans.
No, Spider-Man. Tom
Holland.
Tom Holland. And I guess it comes from Anthony Mackie was on some show and he was asked about the Spider-Man movies and he's like, well, yeah, I actually haven't seen the second one yet. And so Tom Holland actually tweeted out, he's like, hey, I haven't seen the Falcon movie. Oh wait.
So let's deal with that when we get done when we get into talking about the premiere. Okay. I got one or two other the finale. I want to one or two other things here. There is a new show coming up real soon on Netflix called Jupiter's Legacy. That's going to be arriving May 7th. It's based on the Mark Millar comic book of the same name, about a family of superheroes, of people that develop superhuman abilities, and then their ensuing progeny and how they come across, how they develop and deal with being superheroes. The ambitious saga chronicles a generation of superheroes beginning in the Roaring '20s when they acquired their powers and banded together to form a super squad, the Union of Justice. As for how the idea came together, Miller explained, I'm not going to go into that, but he did say that Carrie Fisher's family and her memoirs were kind of part of his inspiration. She's talking about how even though she was Princess Leia and everyone loves Carrie Fisher, she never thought that she was really was special because her mom and dad, Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher, were two of the most famous people on the planet. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how the children of these superheroes kind of fare. The 6 founding members of the super team comprises Sheldon Sampson, all known as the Utopian, played by Josh Duhamel. His wife, Grace, also known as Lady Liberty, played by Leslie Bibb. His brother, Walter Brainwave, played by Ben Daniels. His best friend, George Hutchins, plays Sky Fox, played by Matt Lantner. Richard Conrad is Blue Bolt, played by David Julian Hirsch. And Fitz Small is the Flare, played by Mike Wade. Tensions arise when Sheldon and Grace seek to pass on their crime-fighting duties to their children, Brandon and Chloe. However, the siblings want nothing to do with the betterment of mankind, having cracked under the weight of following in their parents' footsteps and the daunting expectations placed upon them. So, looks fucking awesome, man. I've seen some of the trailer stuff on Netflix. It looks really cool. That's Netflix, May 7th. Thanks a lot,
Ghost Hand. Have a good night.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for hanging out, man. Take it easy, brother.
Well, with that,
when do we get superhero saturation? Never. Never.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of overlap lately on some of the superhero content.
There has been, and I'll get that some people are getting getting fatigued. Now, but as long as we keep it fresh.
You mentioned Netflix, and last Friday, Shadow and Bone came out on Netflix, which is one I want to see. I've never read the books. I guess they're really, really popular.
Well, like it just said, the people that are handling this World of Darkness thing are one of the guys is running that show. I've heard really good things. It's on my Netflix list. I'll get to it eventually. Last thing, the Oscars were Sunday night. Yes. An interesting night. It was an actual.
Ray just started the book.
It was a live event. They did actually have people there. It wasn't just virtual like the Golden Globes and last year's Oscars were. Just to go through the winners real quick, we had Nomadland was the winner of Best Picture. The Best Director was Chloe Zhao, Nomadland, which is actually the first time a woman of color has won the Best Director Oscar. Best Actress was Frances McDormand, also for Nomadland. Best Actor, Anthony Hopkins for The Father. Now, interestingly enough, they closed the show with Best Actor. Normally, they closed the show with Best Movie. But this time they closed it with Best Actor. He took it. Anthony Hopkins is also the oldest man to have won a Best Actor Oscar. A lot of people thought that it was going to go to Chad Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, obviously posthumously, but no, it went to Anthony Hopkins. Gary Oldman was up for it. Pardon me? Yeah, it's a movie. It's a movie about.
The CD said that's the only one so far that he actually saw, and he said it was brutally excellent.
Yeah, I've heard it was really, really good. One of those movies that you didn't necessarily think you'd like, but was really, really good. It's about a man and his aging man who is dealing with getting older and kind of slowly slipping into dementia and his daughter kind of watching this happen. And apparently it's really, really good. Interestingly enough, Stephen Yeun, who was nominated for Minari, you would know Stephen Yeun. He does the voice of Mark Grayson on Invincible. He was one of the main characters, one of the original characters of The Walking Dead. He's actually from Taylor. He's from Taylor, Michigan. So to finish out this Best Supporting Actress was Downriver, yeah. From
Taylor Tucky.
Are you done?
No.
Okay.
You're in Hazel, Arkansas.
I'm in Hazel, Arkansas. I am. To go through them real quick too. The Best Supporting Actors, the winner was Yuya Jung for Minari. Best Supporting Actor Daniel Kaluuya, Judas and the Black Messiah. Best Cinematography for Mank. Best Film Editing, Sound of Metal. Best Original Song, Fight for You, Judas and the Black Messiah. Interestingly enough, Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, was also nominated. That cracked me the fuck up. Best Animated Film was Soul, which can be seen on Disney Plus right now. Mm-hmm. International Feature Film, Another Round. Adapted Screenplay, The Father. Best Original Screenplay, Promising Young Woman, which I really want to see. I've heard really good things about it. Best Documentary Feature, My Octopus Teacher. Makeup and Hairstyling was Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Best Achievement in Sound, Sound of Metal. Best Visual Effects, Tenet. And Production Design, Mank. Original Score, Soul. Costume Design, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Best Documentary Short, Colette. Animated Short Film, If Anything Happens, I Love You. Best Live Action Short Film, Two Distant Strangers. And that's it. I'm not going to go through all we would be here all night. We go through all of the nominations, but it was there's some pretty amazing people and movies. Just to go through real quick, the nominations for Best Picture were The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, which won, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. Interestingly enough, also, I think, what was it? Where is it? Sacha Baron Cohen, he was up for Best Supporting Actor for Trial of the Chicago 7, and then his movie, Trial of the Chicago 7, was up. But several of these movies definitely got multiple nominations. Promising Young Woman got multiple nominations, Trial of the Chicago 7. It's interesting, too, to note, like, quite often the Golden Globes and the Oscars have a lot of commonality. If I remember correctly, there were a lot of them that were a little bit different here. Like Sacha Baron Cohen got nominated twice at the Golden Globes for Trial of Chicago 7 and for Borat 2. And Borat 2 really got very little attention at the Oscars. Maria Bakalova, who plays his daughter in Borat, did get a nomination for Best Supporting Actress. That was it. So anyway, that was just it. I just wanted to touch on a few of these things here. I don't always care to pay too much attention to the Oscars, but I do feel like, it does need to be addressed because it is an important thing in our entertainment world. You want to move on to Winter Soldier?
Yeah, we should probably move on to that.
Okay. First of all, let me just say, holy shit, and holy shit.
Now, I've only watched this once so far. Usually I watch it twice before we review it, but I didn't have time because normally I'll watch it like on my lunch hour on Tuesday before the show or something like that. And I actually had to go into the office today for the first time, so I didn't actually watch it at lunch, and I didn't have time when I got home. So if I'm a little fuzzy on some of it, one of the things I will say that I thought was that it was fantastic. The entire series was fantastic, but it felt a little rushed.
It did feel a little rushed. I'd have to agree with that, but I gotta say, they ended strong. They did.
It opens up right where they left off with the lockdown at the GRC.
Yeah.
And Senator Asshole sitting there just like standing there panicking, like not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And we see that Bucky's
I love those red lights too, just added for the drama.
Yeah. Red alert, read alert.
Read alert.
But the Bucky's already there. Sam's on his way. Oh, CD says Invincible's still better.
Dude, Invincible is so good.
I'm like 2 episodes behind now because we watched 1 and we still had 1 and now we've got 2. So
we'll do an overall review when
and we're gonna have to start talking about the Nevers too because Renee and I watched the Nevers, the new episode of the Nevers this week.
Wow,
fucking good show.
Fucking awesome show.
But anyway, so Bucky's there, Sam's on his way, and we get our first glimpse of Sam and what was in the box. What's in the box?
Yeah. It was not Pepper Potts' head, thankfully. So I knew it was going to be a new suit. I knew it was going to be new wings. And and I love that it came from Wakanda. Wakanda is becoming the new Tony Stark because it's, you need somebody to make all the gadgets and all the cool stuff. And now Tony's gone until like Riri Williams is introduced in Ironheart or whatnot. Like Wakanda is the go-to for premium superior technology. At least maybe until Mr. Fantastic is introduced. Somebody has got to have to be introduced. So we get an amazing suit. And I got to tell you, Sam's Captain America suit is fantastic.
When he flies in through the window and says, "I'm Captain America." And it is straight
I got chills, man.
It's straight out of the comics.
It is.
Now, I do have there's one issue that I have with that and with the suit. And it's only because at the time that it was created, because we're going back a little ways, but putting a black man in a primarily white suit, I think, isn't the best image.
Like aesthetically?
Well, no, not even aesthetically. It's almost like, it's a black man, but we're gonna put white all over him. It's almost whitewashing him.
I disagree. I don't think it's.
I understand he didn't want to be like Cap. He didn't want to be like Steve Rogers. He wanted to get away from the blue, and the red would have maybe been too aggressive. So that leaves the white. But it's just, to me, I saw that and I'm like, is that really the best?
It's really close to what they designed for the comic.
But it is.
Too.
It is very much like the one from the comics.
Now, my wonder is, Steve Rogers has been Captain America, has been back in the suit in the comics for a long time. Are they going to try and see about getting Sam back in the Captain America suit again in the comics? Because quite often the comic books follow suit with the movies and television. My guess is no, not right away. Because although this was really successful and was really cool, and in fact, I saw an article that was like, oh, they're erasing Chris Evans. They're erasing Chris Evans because now, like, the official Captain America, like, Twitter and some of the other things is they're all of the MCU stuff that formerly had Chris Evans on it now has him on it.
Chris Evans will always be America's ass.
He will. Those movies are still there. He's great. Chris Evans was fantastic.
He was absolutely amazing.
But you know what? America. You know what? Now it's time.
He passed the shield off.
Yeah, it's time. It's time for Anthony Mack to step up and be in that suit. So I think it's great. We do get to see a lot of action in this episode, and he flies in. We see a lot of really cool. Like
him using the suit and stuff as for fighting.
Yes, the aerial and kind of fighting the use of the shield in conjunction with his flying abilities.
When he spreads the wings and they chunk into the ground,
to
hold him in play. I'm like, oh, that's badass.
Yeah, that was when he was fighting Carly Morgenthau.
Yeah.
There was some really cool stuff, and I was like, "Oh man, this is badass." We also get to see. I loved how, like, near the beginning too, when Bucky just walks, he's just walking along, and the security guys recognize him, and it's just like, "Oh, yeah, they're right this way, sir." And like he's some really recognizable motherfucker. It's not like he's wearing a mask. It's not like his costume is particularly like recognizable. It's a leather suit, or a leather jacket
with a metal arm, though.
With a metal arm, but the guys recognize, oh, that's the Winter Soldier. Get the fuck out of the way, But then we see somebody look at him and say, "Hey, sir, are you supposed to be here?" And then you realize, oh, it's Sharon who showed up to help, and she takes the mask off. It was
like a Mission Impossible style mask.
Well, it was the thing that the Black Widow used to disguise herself. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. We see Sharon again. We see Sharon at some point, because it's been a couple of days since I've seen the episode too, but we see Sharon at some point. She confronts Carly and basically says, and that's where we find out that Sharon was the fucking power broker.
No, we find that out when she leaves her pardon.
No. We knew that, but there was a lot of rumors that confirmed it for sure. But there was a lot of rumors that Sharon was the power broker.
That was where we found out that she truly was the power broker.
But we also know that when she confronts Carly, that she's like, "Come back to me, come back to work for me." She was working for Sharon. That's how Carly got the super soldier serum. That was where it was confirmed that, oh shit, no, she really is the power broker. When we see her walk away from her at the end of her pardon, we know that Sharon is rotten at this point. She's not just that she's the power broker, but that she is
a bad guy.
Now, and that's sad to me. That makes me sad, because in the comic, Sharon is Cap's girlfriend and she's a really good person,
but in this case, Cap left her to go bone her aunt.
True. I mean, it is different character. It was a little weird, but so anyway, Sharon does end up she's the one that ends up killing Carly eventually. Like, shoots her because and even though Sam had been fighting her, there were so many great combat moments in this show. Times when Sam's flying when he's fighting Patrick the Leaper.
Well, I was going to say, let's go back to the beginning, because near the beginning, Bucky actually confronts Carly. And Carly tries to convince him that he's fighting for the wrong side. Right.
They're on the phone.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. And she's trying to convince him to come over to her side.
Yeah, and she basically was just stalling him, which was really funny. And then he realizes, oh shit. And he jumps on that bike, and Sharon's like, You had one job, Bucky. Shut up! And he takes off after her because they're taking off. They've got all the politician guys in the trucks and locked in, and so yeah, he goes after them, and at the same time, you got Sam fighting the Leaper, and Patrick the Leaper, and they're like, holy shit, because he was only there to kill the Black Panther or to kill the Falcon. So that was a really cool fight. We saw that really great, that kind of thing, and then we see just constant like back and forth between the fighting and stuff.
And then at the fight with Bucky and Carly, all of a sudden Walker shows up.
And I tell you, does the right thing. He shows up in his cap suit with his homemade shield that just gets dented all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, and you see what it is that he put his Medal of Honor on the inside of the shield so that when he holds it up, he sees it.
To remind himself.
Yep.
Yeah. To remind himself what he's fighting for. Because the guy's pretty disillusioned at this point. But if he can still look at that medal and go, this is what I was fighting for, not those assholes. So he does, and you can see that he's struggling, and then that truck is going to go off the side of the building, and he grabs it.
Yep.
And he pulls it back, and that's also when we see after Samuel's already, kind of rescued that helicopter and stopped that super soldier and dumped him in the Hudson and whatnot. That's when Sam helps to save it as well. And it was funny, like Stella was like,
some strong ass jets.
Yeah, no kidding. Stella was like, how's he doing that? He's not that strong. I go, no, it's all the fucking jetpack, man. It's all the
and the suit
reinforcing
his muscles and bone structure.
Right. Everything is kind of reinforcing him. So I mean, he's essentially in a Iron Man outfit, just not quite as powerful, he's I mean, I don't know how much it's increasing his strength, but it probably is somewhat, It's more the wings than anything else. But he's got those extra 2 little drone jets that came off on either side and helped push that thing up. So one of the things that I loved the most about this episode was the redemption of John Walker. The fact that he, after all that shit, still stepped up and did the right thing. I was totally expecting them to have to throw down with him again.
I thought there was going to be another Bucky, Sam Walker fight.
I thought so too. I really thought that we were going to have to see them take him down a second time, and even see him as the U.S. agent, in that situation as opposed to wearing his cap suit. But he stepped up. He actually jumped in to help. Even after he grabbed the truck, he didn't just split. He and Bucky went out after the other.
Yeah, him and Bucky actually teamed up.
Right, they went out after the other super soldiers, and it was even funny. It was kind of funny at the end because they routed the flag smashers out of the building, and then all of a sudden, whoop 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 whoop, and all the cops just show up, and there's Bucky and Walker just going, boy, this sucks, doesn't it? There's no punches thrown, no nothing. They're like, here you go, guys, and they arrested them all, And so I really like the fact that John Walker was essentially redeemed in this situation. The guy walked into a situation where he was given, told to be the new Captain America and had almost no preparation, had no training, had nothing. I mean, he had like a week with the shield and the suit and the costume and everything, like maybe as much as 2 weeks. And then they dump him in the deep end. This showed that he is a stand-up guy. He fucked up hardcore, but he's still a guy that deserves maybe a second chance or a different chance, and I really like that they gave this character more than just a one note villain or bad guy, In fact, he really wasn't a bad guy.
Well, and later in the show, they're back in that same room where he got his basically his dismissal,
right?
And it's
with
just
the Contessa.
It's just Val. Don't call me Val.
Right.
And his wife, and they're like, "Come on already!" You know, come on
So
out.
why is it taking him so long? It's probably the helmet. The helmet takes a long time.
Yeah. And then he walks out and he's in the U.S. agent outfit. And she says that the country needs a U.S. agent.
Right. And that was really cool because he comes out and he's just like, it's the same, but black.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
You know, and the funny thing is the actor, Wyatt Russell, actually said that his reaction was genuine because he was kind of like confused. He was expecting it to be a little bit different, but he's like, it's different. It's the same, just black, you know? And then she was saying when things get weird, we're going to need a U.S. agent. And I was just like, fucking cool. And I agree, CD. I mean, he did just kill that guy and now he's all good. I mean, he didn't get prosecuted, but he got fucked, man. He got all of his benefits taken away. He got his rank taken away. Everything that he'd worked for in his military career, probably over 10 years, and all that got taken away from him because he killed that guy.
Well, and I love that he calls her Val there. Yeah. And she's like, don't call me that.
Yeah. We're definitely going to see her again. We're going to see him again. We're going to see her again. From what I understand, actually, she was supposed to be introduced in Black Widow, but then this came.
So we will see her in Black Widow.
Right. Also, I did also hear like there was a kind of a storyline that was never addressed, or that was kind of they shit canned it because it's just for time. Was more information about how Carly and the rest of the Flag Smashers worked directly under Sharon, and how Carly became a good fighter. I mean, sure, the super soldier serum helps, but she shouldn't have been able to go toe to toe with Bucky. Bucky should have kicked her ass 6 ways from Sunday.
Well, that's the thing. That's the same thing with anything. Anyone who gets superpowers can instantly also fight. In every movie that comes out, that's what happens. If you get any sort of supernatural ability, it includes fighting.
And I think that's ridiculous. It's absolutely asinine. As somebody who has been punched in the face before, it doesn't matter how strong you are, man. I mean, if you get punched in the face, you know, it's
you get punched in the face. And
you get punched in the face by somebody who's just as strong as you are. You're going to remember that punch in the face. Yeah. So yeah, I think that, you know, from what I understand, there was supposed to be a storyline kind of addressing why Carly is more than just a strong girl, that she is actually, you know, was trained in hand-to-hand combat. So we did also see one of the best parts of the film, of the episode, was Sam's speech to the council.
Yeah,
and basically telling them to do better.
Yeah, before we get to that though, one of the things I wanted to go back to was Sam with saving the helicopter, because we kind of glossed over that.
Yeah.
And that's you see him look at the helicopter as he's flying along, and the bad guy's flying it.
Yeah.
And he basically tells Red Wing to let him know if anyone in that helicopter has flight experience.
Yeah.
And of course someone does.
Right.
And then he immediately taps into like her cell phone headpiece or whatever. And
he tells her, in her earbuds, he tells her to pick up her
to be ready to on the count of 3, be ready to grab the controls.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically blows the door and just takes the guy out the same way he took out he saved the one captain at the beginning of the first episode. Just blow the door open and fly right through. And then she, of course, gets control and
jumps in and
is able to save the entire helicopter.
It's pretty unlikely, I gotta say.
Extremely unlikely.
But it's a superhero movie. What are you going to do? You know?
Well, it's like, you know, the whole thing in Superman, the movie, where, you know, Lois is falling and Superman catches her, and Sheldon explains how, you know, it would have been safer for her. It would have been more humane for him to let her just splat, because him catching her would have cut her into 3 nice even pieces.
Right. You got to know that, you know, Superman knows what he's doing, and he's going to match velocity. But yeah, we get to see, you know, I loved how too, you know, you got to wonder how long Sam had with that new suit, because was it really intuitive? I don't know.
It couldn't have been that long. I mean, we pick up right from the last episode where he just opened the box.
So now, granted, he'd been wearing a similar, suit that was very. But you got to know, there's a lot of fucking new gadgets in that thing.
Yeah.
That he didn't even probably touch on. He probably was
had a really intensive, a really good instruction
training manual. Yeah. This is not the greatest American hero. You're not going to be able to get by without the training manual. My guess is like Shuri probably had a training montage kind of, or some sort of like video training thing in his goggles while he was flying there.
YouTube part 1.
How to use your new wings, how to use your vibranium wings, so it was really cool though. I loved how like you had talked about how he just jammed the wings into the ground to give him more more push and stuff like that. That was really cool. But once again,
super strength, so
once again, the idea too that he had, I mean, that great speech he had about doing better, about talking about how it was how their jobs were hard and this was going to be difficult and the whole thing was going to be difficult. And they're like, you just don't understand. He goes, no, you're right, I don't. And, but you don't understand this. And I mean, I can't remember it word for word, but it was a really great speech. It was really good to kind of show like, that how much of a good man he is. I liked how Isaiah at one point called him special, said, you're not Malcolm and you're not Martin.
Yeah, his interaction with Isaiah
was really great
in the last couple episodes has just been fantastic.
Yeah, it was really, really great. I mean, it was really funny.
And when he came and took Isaiah, he said, "Come on, I want to show you something."
Well, before he said that, I liked how they're talking in the backyard and stuff, and just simple things like Isaiah picking up that planter that had the tree in it. That was like a barrel, half barrel, and he picks it up and sets it down like it's nothing. That was probably 200-300 pounds of maybe at least 200 pounds of tree and dirt and wood and whatever else. And he just picked it up like it was no big fucking deal, like it was picking up like just an empty trash can. So just to reiterate, Isaiah still has his strength, still has, he was super soldier too. But you're right. He takes him, he says he takes both him and Isaiah and his grandson, Eli, and shows the addition to the Captain America display at the Smithsonian. And
actually,
that was really
before that, actually. I just found a thing that says, in the scene that's certain to divide fans and critics of the show, Sam gets to drop a few speeches on senators and council members.
Right.
He notes how labels like terrorist, refugee, and thug only lead to problems of blame and responsibility.
Exactly.
This isn't about easy decisions, Senator. Even Isaiah Bradley is watching at home, nodding in approval. Sam says he has no serum and no blonde hair. His only power is belief that people can do better. He speaks about representation and encourages people in power to ask the right questions, like, why did Carly die trying to stop them?
Mm-hmm.
And then they start doing the cleanup after that. And you see them loading all of the flag smashers into one of those trucks. And one of the guards says, "One world, one people."
Yeah.
And the guy kind of smiles and nods. And you're like, oh, shit, what's going to happen here? And they start driving away, and the fucking truck blows up.
Yeah, and it's the butler. It's Zemo's
butler. He's got his fucking white gloves on, everything. And then Zemo hears the news that he takes his book and he just lays back in his bed on the raft.
Yeah, it says Zemo. It's Zemo's butler, Oznik. Presumably, it was all done on Zemo's old orders, right? Because Zemo
wanted the super soldiers dead.
Right, he wanted them dead. Now, I still say there's probably a couple.
Jeeves.
That's funny. I still say there's probably a couple left. There's probably a couple left out there. We'll see. We'll see how that flies and whatnot. But that was really, really cool.
Then after that is when Sam and Isaiah are talking, and Bradley tells Sam that he's special. And then that's when he takes him and shows him that, shows him the whole thing. Takes him and his grandson and shows him the new display.
Yeah.
At the at the Captain
That was
America
powerful,
exhibit.
man. That was great. And he said no one will ever forget again or something
Mm-hmm.
to that extent. I was like, oh man, that was really, really good. We also got in.
Oh, go ahead.
We also got into some stuff about Bucky and about how Bucky kind of like
further
developed his closure.
Yeah, he finished his list.
Yeah, finished his list, and
he went and talked to the old guy that he'd been having lunch with.
That was the last one.
Yes,
was letting the old Asian guy know that about his son had died because been killed by the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and it was me.
It was me, and I didn't have a choice. And it was like, oh my god, I don't.
Well, then he walks by and sees the old guy and that girl that he had the date with.
Right, having lunch,
and then he just fades away, type of thing.
So yeah,
but
it shows that he's not ready to let anybody in or not.
Yeah. We see the counselor again, the psychiatrist.
Yeah,
and there's a bag there, like with like a gift bag,
right?
And it's got a note on it or a card on it, and she reaches in and pulls it out, and it's the book,
right?
That Bucky
had. And like I said, he finished his list,
and that's what he says. He says, "I finished my list."
So yeah, and there was a couple other things too. Like it was cool to see like John Walker just look at like when Cap shows up and they immediately are just calling him Cap, oh my God, Cap, but John Walker shows up and he's just like, he just nods at Sam. Okay. Yep. And they have that moment where they just meet and that was pretty cool. And then John just kind of leaves and now you're also seeing too, like Bucky, Sam and Bucky are going to have that, they don't have that animosity anymore. They don't. I mean, that was established in the previous episode that was disappearing and stuff. But now they're really coming into their friendship and stuff.
We're partners.
Yeah.
We're a couple of guys with a mutual friend who's gone. So we're a couple of guys.
Yeah, we're a couple of guys. I think they're better about it now, though, too. And but then we also, like I said, you also got into the John Walker's new U.S. agent gig and. That was really cool. And then people are like, okay, well, what is Valentina setting up? Is she setting up the potential Dark Avengers? Is she setting up a potential Thunderbolts? Who knows? We for all we know, we're going to see Zemo in some kind of superheroic kind of situation. We who knows? I mean, all in all, the episode was amazing.
Well, and we did have the post-credit scene, which is where Sharon gets her pardon.
She gets her pardon and says, thank you, and I've been waiting for this, and thank you very much, and then walks out and immediately makes a phone call and says, hey, guys, we got access to all kinds of goodies now.
Yeah. And get the bidders lined up.
Yeah. So which means she's basically going to now be stealing from S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever else, because they said you might even be able to get your old job back. And have access to technology and weapons and whatever else that she didn't have before as the power broker. So this is going to be there's so much setup on this episode. That's the other thing. I mean, it definitely didn't feel like a series finale.
Yeah.
It felt like, okay, this is another setup to be continued. Yeah. Now people have talked about, is there going to be a second season? It's possible. But I'm thinking that it's more likely going to lead into what you were talking about earlier when they announced that day that Captain America 4 is now in the works.
Nothing's really been said. No, there's been no director or anything like that.
No, but it is being produced by the showrunner of this show. So all in all, I mean, there are saying that we probably won't see it until at least 23. But because they're not right, haven't written it yet, or whatever, and there's still the possibility we could see a second season of Winter Soldier, which awesome because they dropped so many potential things that they could be putting out. So we shall see. I did read recently, now that we are in a little bit of a drought of Marvel stuff for the next couple of weeks. I did hear though that the Loki show, they're looking to get at least 3 seasons out of the Loki show.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, the Disney Plus really wants. Now, Tom Hiddleston is contracted for the one season, but I mean, if it does well, I'm sure. I mean, he loves playing Loki, and they really want. I'm sure they'll throw enough money at him to get him to keep playing this role.
So, sorry, just to go back to this real quick, I'm looking at a website and it's got like Easter eggs assemble, and it's like the Easter eggs from it. And something I missed, the episode ends with a new title.
Yeah.
Captain America.
And the Winter Soldier. Yeah, that was the title card at the end. Yeah.
I missed that. I think I glossed completely over it.
Because Sam is the Winter Soldier. I also is Captain America. I also really liked how somebody.
I'm still waiting. I still want to know if Steve Rogers is actually on the moon.
He's not. He's not on the fucking moon.
That they brought that up so many times.
He's not on the fucking moon. God. What I also did really like too was when the one guy, the older guy, looked at me and said, "That's Black Falcon," and the other guy said, "No, that's Captain America." And you could just see the pride. You could see the smile and the pride on the man's face, and I was just like, "Wow, that was really powerful. It was really awesome." The only thing that bums me out is that it's just that Sam, in the comic books, Sam had a real rough time as Captain America. Came under a lot of opposition from both the government and from a lot of people, a lot of the white racists in this country. There was a lot of his run as Captain America in the comic was essentially, a lot of it was fighting against racism and fighting against, people trying to keep other people down. And as opposed to maybe, having an epic supervillain kind of situation, he was fighting against his own people, fellow Americans, essentially, which is really sad. And then he ended up, when Steve ended up taking back the shield, essentially, or becoming Captain America again, they were like, he went back to being the Falcon, and that's fine, that's cool, but I just felt like, man, it's just too bad that he didn't get a chance, I think, to shine properly as Captain America. So that was just my. Yep. I would have liked to have seen more time. I mean, there's no reason why they can't have more than one Captain America. They both could have operated as Captain America, and they both kind of did at first for a little bit, but then the whole Cap Hydra thing happened, and so we should probably wrap things up.
Yep, we should.
Both series rushed, not great, but certainly people keeping Disney for whatever they have. Marvel is the new addiction. See, I disagree, CD. I think both of these shows were pretty solid. I
do agree that I think this one was rushed.
I think this one was rushed. I think I would have liked to have seen this go.
I don't think the overall production value of the show was rushed.
No,
but I think that the storytelling was rushed.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen this go 8 episodes, not 6.
Exactly. I think they could have pulled it out a little bit more.
I think they could have pulled it out, and I think they could have probably dealt with some of these story points a little bit more. I think they probably. They should have worked a little harder to show Walker's redemption. I
think this should have been like 8 episodes. I think that WandaVision should have been like 8 episodes, because there was one that I think that one they actually kind of stretched it out a little bit too much.
Maybe
in like the 8th episode. I think
but their episodes were shorter.
Yeah,
their episodes are shorter.
Yeah, but I still think they stretched it out to get it to 9 episodes.
Okay. But I felt it was really solid, and this one too. I think that this could have gone 8 episodes for sure. They could have probably drawn out some stuff. I would have liked to have seen, like I said, John Walker really kind of psychologically dealing with like what he did and what happened and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was only like a 2-minute scene,
right,
where you see him dealing with it. You get the idea of what's going on, but
right.
And I would have liked to have really delved more into Carly and the Flag Smashers and
that too as well. I mean, because they did a really great job establishing their motivation.
Yep.
But how they had reason to be upset. They had reason to be pissed off at the world and at the governments and stuff like that. But anyways, guys, let us know what you think. CD agrees, maybe 8 on both. let us know what you think, man. If you've got a different opinion, or if you really liked the shows, if you really liked, I'd love to hear more talk about WandaVision and more talk about this and what's going to be coming up too.
Like 6 or 7 weeks till Loki. So
about 6 weeks, I believe, until Loki, and then what we're going to be talking about the Nevers. We're going to be talking about Invincible. And
we got some stuff Invincible's just about done, isn't it?
2 more episodes.
2 more episodes.
2 more episodes, and then we can break down Invincible. We'll probably spend almost an entire episode breaking down that whole series because it was really, really good. Then and like I said, the Nevers too.
The Nevers has been fantastic. We're 3
episodes in, and
of 8 episodes, I think it is.
And I'm just like, fuck. It's just spectacular. Really, really good.
I think the Nevers has 8 episodes.
Are you sure? It might only be 6, but I'm not for certain on that. But it has been such a really good show.
The Nevers, blah blah blah.
I like how they have a little
like. It's going to be 6, so we're halfway through the season.
I like how they're going to have a little at the end of each episode. They have a little like kind of making of, kind of, or a little behind the scenes kind of.
Yeah, see, I don't watch those.
They're pretty good. They're pretty cool. I mean, just they went into how they filmed the scene where the guy fights her when he's on top of the water and she's underneath.
That was pretty badass.
It was pretty cool.
That's what his turn is. No wonder he wanted to take him to the Thames.
Right. And how they kind of filmed that. That was pretty cool.
We'll get into it next week, but what a different role for Nick Frost.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Really. He is really shining in this role. It's been really, really cool. So but
if you haven't watched it and you have HBOMax, check out the Nevers. It's worth it. I'm a huge steampunk fan, and this is very steampunky.
Yeah, HBO. It's really, really cool.
New episodes Sunday nights.
Yeah, so check it out. Thanks for joining us, CD. Thanks for everybody else that was on board. Ghost Hand. I know he signed out a bit ago.
We had one new person too.
Did we?
Yeah, BlizzX.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I missed them in the.
I don't know if they stuck around for long, but cool.
I don't see any alcohol. Yeah, well, it was, it was alcohol. Always in a little bit.
I held up my glass when.
Okay. So, but anyways, yes, thanks for joining us, guys, tonight. As always, be sure to tell everybody about us. We could really use. We still need another 11 more followers to get to that magic 50 number. That would be really great. And be sure to tell all your friends about us and come see us. We don't have a gaming show this week, but Chris will be putting up what he has for last week.
Yeah, I gotta start working on stuff because I think I'm 2 weeks behind again on nerds. So
right, and then
I gotta get Tavern Nights from last week up. And then this Friday I actually should be doing Mech Warrior. So if you're into watching somebody drink and drive a giant robot tank and shoot shit.
Exactly. One of these days I'm going to have you show me how to do the whole thing, and maybe I can start actually streaming, doing some stuff.
Cool. Hey, just so you know, Russ, I have actually started taking up drawing.
Really?
Yep. I've started with just doing little exercises. I've got a little exercise sheet here with
it's all washed out. I can't see it.
But it's it's like drawing lines and ellipses and circles and hatching and.
All right. Well, if you need any suggestions on maybe some books or whatnot, just let me know. I have a bunch of them.
Yes.
And I can give you some tips.
Yes.
There's a lot.
I mean, right now I'm just doing basic exercises and I'm watching some videos, and one of the guys is that I was just watching. He's like, you don't draw here. You draw big. You draw from your shoulder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's
don't
just
do
weird.
this. Do this.
Yeah. They're like, don't be afraid to draw big. And of course, everyone that I'm watching on videos has one of the Wacom tablets.
Wacom. That's the difficulty about digital stuff, but that's why don't fuck with the Wacom the tablets for right now. Just you got to get your skills down on paper.
Renee gave me a sketchbook that she had that only has a couple of little things in it, but so it's mostly empty.
Well, what you want to do is you want to go to Blick, and you want to get a big fucking sketch
pad.
I like the big ones. This one is 18 by 24. I think you can get a little bit bigger. Can't remember. This is like the biggest normal. This is a drawing pad, but there's I like the big pieces of paper because I can draw big, because I like to draw big. And then once you get your skills down, then you can start thinking about how to draw on the computer and stuff like that. Because drawing on the computer, completely different, in a lot of, well, not completely different, but very different in the ways and how you do things like that.
I'm not even thinking about that yet. So.
So guys, be sure to check us out on all the places you can find quality podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on iTunes, the Google Play Store, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, radio.com, and of course you can stream and download all of our episodes at nerdswithalcoholshow.com. We are here every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on Drinking Nerds on Twitch, and a day or so later, or a couple of days later, or maybe a week later on YouTube.
Maybe also a couple weeks later,
depending on how busy Chris gets.
Yeah. The last few weeks have been really bad. But yeah, so you can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Twitter, Drinking Nerds, and Instagram, Drinking Nerds. And then if you're on Untapped, the beer drinking app, you can just search for Drinking Nerds, send us a friend request, and we will get you added.
Absolutely. So yeah.
If you're on Mech Warrior, if you want to send me a friend request, it's Drinking Nerds on there. So.
Exactly. Well, is that it?
It is free to play, so it's one of those games where you don't have to invest a lot of money unless you want to. It's not really necessarily a pay to win pay to win. You can still have a lot of fun without paying, and that's what I'm doing with this particular account. Is my other account, I have spent some money on it, but this one I'm trying not to spend any money on the actual account. I just want to play it through and see what it's like as a full-on free-to-play.
Excellent. Shall we?
Yep. So I think that'll about do it.
That should do it.
So on that note.
Until next time. Slancha. That
wasn't bad for what it was.
Not too bad.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.